I mean, I feel like that was like what I was used to. It was never
Normal.
like weird because that was my normal. I just grew up and I was like,
For years, the world was mesmerized by the Goslins, the perfect American family with 8 adorable children, a strict but loving mom, and a reality TV dream that captivated millions. But behind the matching outfits, the smiles, and the cheerful family dinners, a much darker secret was being kept. Hannah Gosselin, once the quiet daughter of Jon and Kate, has finally grown up, and she's no longer staying silent. Her voice now reveals a truth far more complicated than the glossy, curated world of Jon and Kate plus 8. And what she is saying about her mother has left fans heartbroken and speechless. Before Hannah Gosselin could even walk, her life was owned by the public. Born on May 10, 2004, in Hershey, Pennsylvania, she entered a world already defined by contracts, cameras, and crushing expectations. She was one of the famous Gosselin sextuplets, Alexis, Hannah, Aiden, Colin, Leah, and Joel, joining older twin sisters, Maddie and Kara. When Jon and Kate plus 8 premiered on TLC in 2007, it was marketed as a heartwarming portrait of a loving couple managing the chaos of 8 children. Millions tuned in each week to watch Kate's no-nonsense parenting, Jon's laid-back humor, and their adorable brood. But for Hannah, who was only 3 when filming began, that perfect family image was never real. It was a performance she was forced to live. What most viewers didn't realize was that the Gosselin house had stopped being a home. It had become a studio set. Cameras were installed in almost every room, capturing everything from breakfast routines to bedtime meltdowns. Hannah's tears, laughter, and even her discipline were part of the show's unscripted storyline. "We are all representatives of the brand," Kate would often remind her children. It wasn't just a family, it was a highly profitable business. Every smile was marketable, every argument an episode, every birthday a ratings opportunity. For Hannah, her childhood didn't happen behind closed doors. It happened on national television. Behind the cheerful narration and picture-perfect editing, the cracks were already forming. Hannah, naturally expressive and sensitive, struggled with the constant, rigid control that defined her mother's household. Kate was famously strict. She scheduled meals to the minute, color-coded clothing, and demanded absolute obedience at all times. Viewers often saw her scolding the children on camera, and while some praised her discipline, others felt an overwhelming sense of unease. Over time, observant fans began noticing how often Hannah appeared withdrawn or upset, particularly during moments of family conflict. Life under Kate's roof meant that privacy didn't exist. Even family disagreements were captured for millions to see. Hannah later described that period as ordered chaos, where appearances mattered far more than emotions. What the cameras didn't show was the sheer exhaustion, the intense pressure of always needing to perform, and the strain of needing to look happy even when she genuinely wasn't. While other children her age played freely, Hannah learned to suppress her feelings to protect the family's lucrative image. When Jon and Kate plus 8 reached its peak, the Gosselins were everywhere, on magazine covers, talk shows, and in the center of every tabloid scandal. The world adored them, but inside the house, tension was a living thing. Jon and Kate's marriage began to unravel violently under the spotlight, and by 2009, their divorce turned from private pain into a massive public spectacle. The show rebranded as Kate plus 8, but the magic was gone. The family dynamic was irreversibly changing, and Hannah, then only 5 years old, was already absorbing the emotional cost of celebrity. When Jon and Kate plus 8 first aired, the Gosselins seemed like the ultimate modern family. 8 beautiful kids, 2 dedicated parents, and a cozy home filled with laughter and lessons. But as the lights went off and the crew packed up, a very different reality unfolded within those same walls. Hannah Gosselin, even as a small child, could sense that what millions of viewers adored was not what truly happened behind closed doors. Kate Gosselin, overwhelmed by immense pressure, fame, and the demands of raising 8 children, developed what many described as an authoritarian and isolating style of parenting. Rules were absolute, routines were sacred, and mistakes were rarely tolerated. On television, it looked like efficiency, even admirable. But for Hannah, it felt profoundly suffocating. Every single day was structured down to the minute: when to wake up, when to eat, what to wear, and even how to smile for the cameras. "We weren't just living," she later admitted. "We were performing." The true darkness, however, came into horrifying focus years later when Hannah began to reveal what life inside the Gosselin home was really like, specifically for her brother, Colin. In 2023, during an appearance on Vice TV's Dark Side of the 2000s, Hannah finally broke her silence. Her voice was calm, but filled with a profound weight as she described what the cameras had never shown: her brother's isolation. "He would not get to come outside and play with us," she said. "He would eat dinner at different times than us." It was a chilling revelation that confirmed what many observant fans had long suspected, that something was terribly wrong with how Colin was being treated. Hannah revealed that her mother would keep Colin in a separate room, which she casually referred to as a containment space. There, he spent long hours alone, away from his siblings without explanation. Years later, Colin himself confirmed the absolute worst: that he had been locked in that room, restrained with zip ties, and watched through security cameras. "She had a room built with cameras in it," he told The Sun. "My mother would put me there, bolt the door, and turn the lights off." Kate defended herself publicly, claiming that Colin had special needs and that professionals had advised her to send him to a behavioral facility. But the image she presented, that of a struggling mother following medical advice, didn't match the picture painted by her own children. Hannah's recollections made it terrifyingly clear that Colin wasn't a troubled child. He was a silenced one. And his separation from the family wasn't a matter of health. It was a devastating punishment. For Hannah, this wasn't just about her brother. It was about pervasive fear. Watching Colin slowly disappear from their daily lives left a void she couldn't possibly understand. "There was always something missing," she would later say. "We weren't 8 anymore." Even as the show continued, Colin became invisible, edited out of family moments, absent from celebrations, unmentioned on air. Hannah, still too young to speak out, carried the crushing guilt of staying silent. Fans who once saw Kate as a symbol of maternal perseverance began to intensely question her methods. Could the same woman who inspired millions of mothers also have inflicted trauma on her own children? Hannah's quiet testimony suggested exactly that. And as the truth slowly surfaced, it became clear that behind the Gosselins' carefully curated image of order and perfection, there was deep, profound emotional damage, the kind that simply couldn't be edited out in post-production. Hannah's decision to speak out wasn't about revenge. It was about acknowledgement, giving voice to the moments the cameras deliberately ignored. What she revealed in 2023 didn't just expose her mother's darkness. It exposed the devastating price of growing up in a family where love had to fit into a television schedule. For Hannah, years of silence had protected the family's fragile reputation, but finally speaking up would free her from the crushing weight of it all, even if it meant facing the painful truth about the woman the world once called America's supermom. The tension between Hannah and Kate grew silently for years. By 2018, Hannah was 14 and ready to make a choice that would change her life and the entire Gosselin family forever. After nearly a decade under her mother's primary custody, she made the monumental decision to move in with her father, Jon Gosselin. It was not an easy decision. Kate had won primary custody of all 8 children after the couple's bitter 2009 divorce, and Jon was largely portrayed in the media as the unstable parent. But Hannah saw something different. a chance for genuine peace. Jon, who had been estranged from most of his children, had long accused Kate of being overly controlling. When Hannah began visiting him more often, he noticed how anxious and guarded she was. Slowly, she started spending longer periods at his home, until finally she told him she didn't want to go back. Jon later said that Hannah's courage inspired him to fight for custody. "She was brave," he recalled. "She just wanted to live a normal life." In 2018, after a quiet legal process, Jon was granted full custody of Hannah. Shortly after, Colin joined them after being released from the behavioral institution where he had been placed at age 12. For the first time, 2 of the 8 Gosselin children were finally free from Kate's suffocating control. But this freedom came at a massive cost. Hannah's relationship with her siblings fractured. Contact became rare. Visits were awkward. The once inseparable sextuplets were now divided by distance and loyalty, some with Kate, others with Jon. The tabloids painted it as another scandalous chapter in the Gosselin family feud. But for Hannah, it was something much simpler: survival. She later described her life with Jon as normal. That simple word, in her world, carried an enormous, profound weight. After years of constant filming, rigid scheduling, and punishing discipline, she finally had the space to breathe, speak, and feel genuinely safe. For all the sensational headlines about betrayal and custody battles, Hannah never once turned her story into a bitter, vengeful attack. Her tone, even in intense interviews, has always been measured, emotional, yet controlled. She once said, "My mom wasn't perfect. No parent is." It's a simple, profound sentence, but it reveals her complicated feelings, a mix of deep pain and compassion that only a child of such public chaos could possibly understand. While some of her siblings remained fiercely silent, Hannah began to openly speak about what it was really like growing up under constant, unrelenting pressure. She explained that everything had to be about the brand, that every argument, every smile, every single outfit had to match the pristine image their mother wanted the world to see. For years, she quietly followed those brutal rules. But after moving in with Jon, she realized how different life could truly be. "I can finally be myself," she said in one interview. "I'm not representing anyone anymore." Jon described his home as a place where Hannah could finally heal. Gone were the cameras, the rigid meal schedules, and the constant emotional tension. For the first time, Hannah had privacy. She could have friends, make mistakes, and just be a regular teenager. But even as she successfully rebuilt her life, she didn't forget her siblings. "They're part of me in a way no one else can understand," she said. Hannah often mentioned her sister Leah as the one she stayed closest to. Despite the distance and emotional walls, she never stopped quietly hoping that one day the entire family could reunite. Without the cameras, the contracts, or the pain that had defined their past. If Hannah's testimony opened the door to the truth, Colin's story blew it wide open. In interviews throughout 2023, he revealed even more disturbing details about his childhood, claiming that Kate's abuse began when he was only 8 or 9. He said he was singled out, punished far more harshly than his siblings, and locked away just for being in the way. His words were shocking, but his calm, steady delivery made them even harder to ignore. "She had a room built with cameras," he said again. "It had a bolt lock from the outside." After Colin's statements aired, the Gosselin family was once again thrown into public turmoil. Kate responded with a public statement claiming her son had multiple psychiatric diagnoses and suffered from a distorted perception of reality. She fiercely defended her actions, saying they were done under professional supervision. Maddie, the eldest daughter, sided with her mother, publicly accusing Colin of violent behavior toward others. But Jon's longtime girlfriend, Colleen Conrad, defended Colin, calling him a kind, loving person and saying the allegations against him were completely false. Caught in the painful middle was Hannah, torn between family loyalty, the truth, and overwhelming exhaustion. She refused to join the public fight. Instead, she kept her tone steady and her words careful. In 2024, she told interviewers that she had quietly begun reconnecting with her mother after years of distance. "We talk about school and life," she said. "She's my mom." It was a short statement, but it carried the immense weight of forgiveness, or at least the profound beginning of it. By 2024, Hannah had blossomed into a confident young woman. She graduated from high school in 2023, launched her own skincare brand, Gosselin Girl Beauty, and started dating Lennon Johnson Jr., a young model. She and her father were seen together in New York City, appearing on the Tamron Hall show to talk about their combined 75 lb weight loss. The photos showed a completely different Hannah, radiant, smiling, and free. But the scars of her past were still there, invisible but deep. Her story isn't just about bitter conflict. It's about unbreakable resilience, about finding a true identity after growing up as a mere product of reality television. The world once watched her as Hannah the sextuplet. Now she's simply Hannah, a 20-year-old woman who has lived through more than most adults ever will. She still stays in touch with some of her siblings, occasionally meets with Kate, and continues to maintain the crucial bond with Jon, who has supported her through every difficult chapter. But even now, the Gosselin family remains tragically fractured. The twins live in New York. 4 of the sextuplets remain with Kate in North Carolina, and only Hannah and Colin stay with Jon. Decades after Jon and Kate plus 8 ended, the emotional fallout of fame still powerfully lingers. Hannah Gosselin's story is both painful and deeply powerful, a raw reminder that what we are shown on television is rarely, if ever, the full truth. From the bright, chaotic lights of a reality show to the quiet search for peace, she's learned that freedom sometimes comes with heartbreaking sacrifice. Do you think Hannah and her mother will ever truly reconcile? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this story as moving as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories.